We had a CMHC economist visit our office last week. He did a deep dive into the Waterloo Region housing market. I'm going to get you going on the story starting right now. This is KW Real Estate News and Views for the week of February 2nd. Oh my God, Groundhog Day. Anyways, it's tomorrow. It's bright and sunny right now. If it's going to be the same tomorrow, let's hope the furry rodent is only picking 6 more weeks of winter because, my God, I'm tired of the cold. It's been brutal. Anyways, also proper Canadian winter, so we can't really complain. Anyways, enough chit-chat about the weather. On to the presentation. Anthony Passarelli, CMHC economist, dropped by Wolle's offices and did a little presentation. A lot of stuff I talked about already, but he kind of condensed it all into one really detailed breakdown and package, and it was good to see also as well, not going to lie, that I'm kind of on top of this stuff myself, so it was good confirmation for what I've been seeing in our marketplace. First thing he talked about, how much our market has slowed down, and December, of course, as I mentioned in my market review, it was slow. Prices were down pretty much everywhere. This graphic I want to show you, though, you see it in blue for Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge. And you look at the HPI price, it's considerably lower than what our board and I post as far as the average prices. And that's because the HPI, that's the home price index that CREA puts out, it's kind of more like the median. You know, what is a typical home worth? And that's why you're seeing that price differential of give or take $75,000 on a detached property. Anyways, across the board, every single center in Southern Ontario was down, and Anthony's pointing that out in this graphic. Next up, inventory levels. As I'd said for a number of months now, inventory levels have been rising. This, of course, verifies that as well. We're looking at 8 months worth of inventory for apartment-style condos, 3 months for detached, 5.1 months for townhouse. This is not new news to me. I've been talking about this a lot. Again, it's confirmation as well. These rising levels are putting downward pressure on prices. That's the long and short of it right there. More houses for sale, more competition, buyers can be picky. Another thing that Anthony was talking about, and I agree with this, he's saying that more listings is a driver of lower prices more so than less sales. I'd say, yeah, that's true because we're seeing a ramp up, a surprising ramp up in listings compared to number of sales. Now, I got to say one thing, historically though, compared to the 10-year average, we've been down 20-25%, in some cases 30% lower than the 10-year average for sales for several years now. So this is not new. But the inventory levels rising so much, that is a big change. And last time I did an update on this, we were 198% of the normal 10-year average for inventory. So in other words, 98% above, that baseline. And Anthony's graph shows this as well. That, of course, is giving buyers, again, more choice. This is another factor that comes into play with our housing market, debt servicing. Now, I can recall a client of mine, he picked up a property, it was before COVID, but he got a mortgage for 2.25%. I mean, I remember this, I'm thinking, this is insane that money was so cheap. Now, Anthony's graph here, it shows, Q1 mortgage rates versus now. And you're talking $750 a month extra to service your debt. Looking at the one he's got, circled there in blue, from Q3 last year to Q1 2022. Huge difference. If you're a marginal buyer and you were struggling, in 2022, well, this isn't making it any better. Yeah, rates have come down an awful lot, but money was so cheap before. This is definitely a factor with a lot of people that are perhaps investors leaving the marketplace. They can't make the numbers work from an investment standpoint, they'll bail. And this really kind of shows, as I said, financial strain. People who are homeowners to live, they're going to ride it out. But anybody else, if you're an investor, why would you stay in the market? It doesn't make sense. Now, Anthony does a city-by-city breakdown as well. I've seen these graphs, my own data as well. Month over month, you're getting the odd, city up and everything else is down. In the case of Waterloo, we're showing listings in dark blue and sales in orange. And, only single family was up. Everything else is down as far as sales volumes. City of Kitchener, again, same thing, tons more listings, very few sales, everything down except for apartments. And then Cambridge, listings up, sales down everywhere. And I can say, looking at this 3 graphs, overall, the overall trend and feeling really for the past year has been a decrease in sales activity and increase in listings. It's just how it's been. Talking about economic uncertainty. Now, looking at the light blue in this graph, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, we have the second lowest unemployment in the province historically, based on the 10-year average. And you're looking at, this is 25 to 44-year-olds, you're looking at the dark blue, it's up to 6.9%. And of course, that age group's critical sector for buying properties. And if people are scared about their jobs, well, or they're sitting there unemployed, they're going to be less likely to want to purchase a house, obviously. Now, something here I can talk about firsthand. I was in the logistics and auto parts sector for a huge chunk of my adult life. 80% of the province is exposed to motor vehicles. That's going to be the big 3. And of course, locally, it's going to be Toyota. Motor vehicle parts, same thing. Auto parts factories all over the province, tons of them here in Southern Ontario. 51% of them go to the US. It just talks about, how much of a risk dealing with the US is right now, especially with what's going on with nonstop nonsense from Trump and the aggressive tactics of the negotiators on the other side. I'm glad Carney is trying to get us some trade deals with other partners because we really need that. We are vulnerable, and now that's something that obviously plays in people's minds. If you're working in this sector and you're worried about your job, again, it's going to make you perhaps reluctant to buy a property. Now, going forward into 2026, I'd mentioned this in my last video, very few employers are actually thinking of hiring. That's the red number at the bottom. And as you can see, Ontario is the weakest, Alberta, Quebec, British Columbia, all much better. And at the top as well, we're the highest for potentially laying people off at 10.4%. The dark blue is, people staying the course. We're not going to increase or decrease our workforce. Negative news, obviously, for our province relative to the other 3 that are shown here in this graph. Now, this is another graph too that really shows as far as prices coming down. This is December 2025. It shows you how much you've got to earn to buy the typical home price index property. You need to earn 150 household income to buy a typical detached in Waterloo Region. Sorry, Kitchener-Waterloo. That's just Kitchener-Waterloo. And that's 40% almost of your income. You don't even have a chance if you're making less than that. Obviously, things are much improved, but they're not where they were certainly pre-pandemic. This shows you how much they've come down since March 2022, right at the very, very peak. I'd argue, I'm thinking it was also February. He's showing March 2022. We're down 28% for detached, for example, 31% for townhouses, but we're still up 28%. We're still up 35% rather, sorry. And, I don't see us going back to pre-pandemic levels, but prices certainly could come down more, and that would ease up the buying situation for a lot of buyers who are waiting in the wings. Now, another thing that will play on our market as well, again, this is negative for prices. We've had tons and tons of growth into the region over the past 5 or 6 years. That's fallen off a cliff. Now, StatsCan's stats are always slow. So this is July 2024 to July 2025 year. And it's 6 months old. But anyways, 0.2% growth in the region. I mean, that's nothing. And a lot of what's been going on is net non-permanent residents leaving the province. And we had net migration of only 33,000 people into the province in Q3 2025. So a huge drop. Anyways, they're talking about how this plays into the rental market. I talked about that in my last couple of videos as well. They've come down a bit. Not huge amounts. I mean, you're still looking at $2,000 average for a 2-bedroom in Waterloo Region, which is crazy. Anyways, doesn't matter. If you're an investor, these numbers are not good. And again, it shows more of that negative that negative pressure on pricing that this Anthony Passarelli is talking about in this presentation, and I've mentioned as well. One other thing you want to talk about, buyers waiting in the wings. Well, of course, people aren't buying. It doesn't mean they've vanished. They're just waiting. And if you look at our 10-year average, it's somewhere just around 120 people per 10,000 are going to buy a house. We're down to like the 80s, 89, 86 right now based on our sales volumes. So people will at some point continue buying. It's not right now. That will turn around. It's just a matter of when. No question, your average person doesn't want to be renting. Why would you? You're just making money for your landlord. It's much better to own your own property if you can. Anyways, that was it for Anthony's presentation. It was amazing. Really well put together, the graphics. I find them ideal for trying to explain things to people. And it, brings some truth to the stuff that I was seeing myself. So nice to see that from an economist. I'm not an economist, and I'm seeing the same things Anthony was. And he brought some other stuff to the table that I don't normally see, like the mortgage stuff. So that was really, really good. One thing I want to talk about, though, this Mannheim service area, it covers almost all of Kitchener-Waterloo and the surrounding areas. I talked about that before. We don't have enough water for all the development we've had going on in the region over the past decade. And right now, they're just in the engineering consulting phase. If there's a huge infrastructure cost and also the time to build it, we could be looking at this freeze on development going on for a couple years. I don't know when it's going to get resolved. I'll keep you posted on that, obviously, but that is pushing pressure the other way as far as prices are going up. At some point, things will turn around in our housing market. But like the groundhog, we don't really know when that's going to be exactly. And really, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. This has been an interesting presentation. We'll catch you on the next one, and have yourself a fantastic day.